Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Drush workshop. I'd like to start clarifying something, which is that this is not a workshop. Initially, my idea was to make something longer, about 3 or 4 hours, so we could both together work together in something. But finally, it's a session. So I'm going to try to cover as many as possible features of Drush. And if anybody else needs any help, either installing or working through any issue with Drush, I'm happy to help afterwards. Maybe we can do a bug, or we can just sit together somewhere. Just come here after my talk, and we'll find a place. Okay, I'm about to introduce myself. Well, first of all, this is my friend Tushar, Gia as well. He's gonna assist me with the microphone because I'm gonna be using the command line here. I work at Civic. Well, my name is Juan Pablo, but I like to be called Juampy. That's actually my nickname as well. I work at Civic Solar, which is an e-commerce site. And within the community, I maintain a couple of modules, and I help with some others. Recently, I wrote a book, which is a very short user guide, which actually, if you tweet something containing that hashtag, I'm going to look for tweets at the end of the session. And I'll be giving this book and another 2 digital copies. So that's about it. Okay, before I start, I'd like to know how many of you people here have already installed Drush on your computer and are using it? Half of it? Okay. So for anybody who has never used it, it's basically using commands to maintain or play with Drupal sites. The main reason of doing this is because it's just faster. It's much more efficient to run a command in the command line rather than clicking around in the administration pages. So the main thing or the main advantage of Drupal, of Drush, is that you can automate a lot of processes. If you're working with a Drupal site and you feel that you are doing the same thing every day or very frequently, it's very probable that there's already a solution built in a module, or that you can maybe write a custom command that can do that with just one single command. It's highly customizable and extendable because you can write your own commands. You can make Drush to work differently for different users, different sites, different servers, or different Drupal installations, just by placing configuration files and other features that it has. And I need to say, unfortunately, nobody from the Drush team is here, but the project is now being maintained by 6 people, and they are hardcore developers. Really good, really nice people, and very, very talented. Okay, so this list of tasks is they are very common tasks that you would do with a Drupal site, and that you can also perform them with a Drush core. You just install Drush. I'm gonna go through installation at the very end because it depends in which OS you have. There are small differences, but just to, I assume that you're already familiar with this task. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna I've downloaded a Drupal core now, blank one, and I'm gonna download views. Create a view, move that view to a feature. If you have never used the features module, it's a way to export a database configuration to a module code. So you can maybe port that to another site or version control it anyway. Then finally, I'm going to modify that view so the feature will be overridden and reverted. Everything I'll do as much as possible with Drush commands. So could you hold this for me? So, yeah. Well, I hope you can see this properly. If anybody can read this, please just tell me and I'll make it just bigger. Okay, so I'll go a little bit further up here because this command takes a few seconds, so that's why I did it before. Basically, I started by downloading the latest stable version of Drupal, and I've renamed it to Workshop because if not, it would have been downloaded as something like Drupal -7.14. So This output is just telling me that it has these profiles, these themes, these modules. So after that, next command, SI is a shortcut for site install, and it just performs the normal Drupal installation that you see in the browser. And I'm just providing it a database connection details. This is my user, where it's gonna be this database, which is in my box, and then the name of the database. That's it. So after that, well, I did it here outside the Drupal, so outside the Drupal core. So this is actually the right command, and that's it. It created a database and it gave me an admin password. So now I'm gonna launch this site, and instead of setting up a web server, I'm gonna use a command called run server, which is something new in Drush 5, which is a built-in web server that works without, well, the only dependency is having PHP CGI that, most SOs have it, or if you use Windows, the Windows installer will install it for you as well. So that command, it's gonna open this site in a local port. I'm also gonna take the chance to log in as an admin, and this last slash is so this get open within my default browser. Okay, so this is already running. If I open my browser, I'm already logged in here. I mean, this has been opened by the command line, and I'm logged in as an admin site, as an admin user, and this is a blank Drupal site. So what I'm gonna do is what I just explained. I'm gonna download views, create a view, add the features module, add the views to feature, and then play a little bit so I can then finally revert it. So for that, I'm gonna open a new terminal and download. Let me change the zoom here. Yeah, that should be enough. Views and features. I'm gonna take a chance to download Devil as well because I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it to populate this site. So that's going to Drupal.org, finding these projects, finding the latest stable version, and downloading them. Okay, so I have these 3 modules now downloaded, and next I'm gonna enable them. It's almost the same command. Instead of DL, it will be EN. I'm using shortcuts for most of the modules. Most of these commands, for example, instead of EN, it's PM out of project management enable. DL, it's PM download. So I'll get into those details later on. So this is enabling these modules. As you can see here, Drush also takes care of dependencies because it's telling me here that views require ctools and asking me if I want to download it, which I'm gonna answer yes. So that's also downloading ctools, and it's gonna enable all these modules. Had some issue there with my cache folder, but I hope it's nothing serious with it. So that's enabling these modules. I actually need to enable also views UI, so I can create the view within the user interface. So I'm gonna issue this again. So I have also the user interface bit. That's it. Finally, can you hold this? Yeah. I need to clear the caches, which I can do it. I'm gonna use the full command here. That's cleaning caches. I think I can help now. So then I can. Okay, so that's it. And now I can go here and create my view. Actually, I'm gonna go through this way. I'm just gonna write a simple view that lists nodes, nothing else. It's just for example. So let's call this sample. Yeah, I got something sample listing. That should be enough. The defaults are fine as well. So, and now I'm going to export this to the feature module in code, which, can you hold this again? Which the features module includes an extension for Drush, so you can perform most of the tasks you would normally do related with features with commands. If I want to list them, I would type Drush help and filter this by the features module. There we are. So we can list available components, check what's the status of a feature, or show us differences between database or code, export configuration to new feature, list them, revert, update, most of the most common tasks. So I'm first gonna find the name of the component I want to add. In this case, it's a view. So I can do that by running Drush features components. This is gonna prompt me which kind of components I'm looking for. In this case, from this list, I want to list the available views. So here we are. This is our view sample listing, the one I created before. And secondly, I'm gonna copy this and export this to feature, and that's done with Drush features export. I'm gonna give a name to this feature, just sample feature, for example, and the name of component. I could add several components after this, and if these components have any dependencies, Drush would take care of it. This warning seems to be actually from the features module, so if anybody wants to have a look at it, seems to be a little bug there. Anyway, it's just a warning, and I've tested this before, and the module still works, so it should be nothing serious. The warnings are still there, but it has created a module called sample feature at this location, and now if I list the available features, it's going to be listed. But as features are also modules, I need to enable it so I can use it. So I'm going to enable sample feature. This -y at the end is so I can jump the prompt that asks me to confirm that I want to enable a module. As you can see, it says it adds a y at the end of this prompt automatically, and if there are any subsequent prompts, it will do it as well. And finally, after this, I can list my features, and it's now enabled. And states blank, which means it's with default status, which means what's in the feature code matches with what's in the database. However, actually, I'm gonna take the chance to populate this listing because there's nothing there now, and I'm gonna use a command of the devel module called generate content. Actually, I'm gonna list them here. If I filter by devel generate, devel well, actually I need to enable this module because it's a submodule of devel. I can automatically with a command populate an empty site with nodes, menus, terms, users, or vocabularies. If I want to check, for example, if I have a module installed or not, in this case, devel generate, I would use PM info, which here is telling me that it's not installed yet. It has been downloaded because it's within devel, but it hasn't been installed yet. So I'm gonna proceed to install it. And yes, that's fine. So once I have this, I'm gonna populate my site, and that's using devel. Actually, no, it's generate content, and then there are a few parameters here. I'm actually gonna show the help of this command. Okay, here we need to provide two arguments, which are how many nodes I want to create here, and what's the maximum amount of comments that are gonna be randomly spread over these nodes. And I'm gonna add the content type that I want to populate. In this case, it's just the page content type. So Drush generate content. I want 20 nodes with 10 comments, of type page. That should do it. Oh, it's types. If I want several types, I could just split them by commas. Okay, so it did it. It generated 20 nodes with 10 comments or less per node. If I list this view again, there I am. I have like dummy content, and I'm gonna change the title of this view so it won't match with the feature module, and it would raise a warning when I'm listing them. So I'm just gonna change this to sample. Actually, I'm gonna change the title view so this is more visible rather than the view name, and save. So previous title was sample listing, and now it's sample. If I list features again, this has an overridden status because it doesn't match anymore. And if I want to get back to the previous status, I would revert the feature with features revert or FR, and then the feature name, sample feature. And then I'm gonna add -y at the end to jump the prompt. So the feature has been reverted, and if I get back here and reload my page, this is back to sample listing again. So with this, we have covered most of this very simple task, and we didn't have to add anything to the to Drush. There are a few more here, such as running database updates, which is update db command. It has no arguments, and it's the same as the update.php page. Regarding backing up and restoring a complete site, there are two new commands since Drush 4.5, which pack all the source code, files, and database configuration into a single file. Which is quite nice because you can then port that file to another server and just unpack it, and it will do the whole installation over that file. As an example, that's done with archive dump or just ARD. I'm right now creating a backup of my site, which first it shows my current configuration, and finally, it saves it in a custom in a default directory that Drush uses with a timestamp. I'm gonna open this file so you can see what's its structure, because whenever you do this, and if you have, for example, a multi-site installation, you can choose which sites within that installation are gonna be in this backup. That's stored at Drush backups. Archive dump. This is the timestamp. Okay, so this is our full site backed up. There is a directory where all the Drupal source code and hence files are stored in here. Then the database dump, and then this little file, the manifest, it's just a metadata file, so Drush restore can know which are the contents of this file and what can it do with it. As you can see, it's just saying I cannot see it from here. It's just saying which Drush version I used, what's the root of my site, what's the site that I've just backed up, and where is the database dump. That's it. So that's it. I'm not gonna restore this site to another place because I just did it this morning and it didn't work. And I wonder if it's me doing something wrong, or it's because there is something wrong with Drush 5.4. So I don't know. Again, if any developer would like to just give it a try. So last two ones, running cron and logging as a specific user. Running cron, Drush cron, same as running cron in the browser. While logging as a specific user, it's basically asking Drush to give you a reset email URL, which if you log in and you don't reset the email, you can log in as any user. For example, I'm already logged in as an admin, but if, for example, I want to log in as another user, I would do Drush user login. Yeah. And well, in this case, I'm gonna give the admin user because it's the only user I have here. And there I am. This link, it's if I copy this to the browser and just paste it, I'm gonna be logged into the site automatically. So, well, I need. Yeah. She's telling me that obviously this has to be replaced in the browser because I didn't. The thing is that Drush doesn't know, what the domain assigned with an installation unless you explicitly gives it to it. Oh really? Thank you. Okay. Unless you set this on settings.php or as a actually we're gonna run another example where I'm saying that my URI it's well in this case I got a temporary URL. No, I just because I have the port. So I'm just gonna copy this and say that this is my local URL. There you are. The link is now properly formatted. There are other ways to do this automatically, which I'll get into that in a little bit. Any questions so far? Okay. So, let me open this. So, once we're done with that, then there is the more advanced stuff, which requires further configuration. I'm going to go through examples of each of these. And in more detail, first I would start with site aliases. Has anybody here ever set up a remote site alias? Okay. A site alias basically it's an array that contains metadata about either a local or a remote Drupal site. You normally connect to a Drupal site to work with it through SSH. So this array just contains the user that you use to connect, the host name that you normally use to connect to, and some other properties like where would you like to store database dumps or some options that you would like to use when you run commands against that server. You can find more details at running Drush topic.aliases. Actually, I haven't mentioned it yet, but Drush topic, I haven't seen it advertised anywhere, but it's an outstanding documentation that it's shipped within Drupal core. Actually, I'm gonna quickly show it to you here, but most of the things I'm explaining here are taken from there. If I type Drush topic, it will list a few options of all the features that Drush have. So, for example, if I want to check about site aliases, that's 22, and here I have a full example of how they work. I can copy this to my box and work with it. However, I'm going to show an example I built. Hold a second. Okay, so I'm going to change path to. Actually, I'm going to show one of the things I can do with site aliases. Let's say I've got a server outside, and it's called DrupalJuampy.com. And through Drush, by configuring the site alias, I can execute commands against this server without having to explicitly log into the server. And for example, if I want to set the site to maintenance, for example, or cache clear, I want to make something that is visible. Well, first, the site aliases command lists the available. It's in singular. List my available site aliases. For example, I've got a local Drupal one. This one points to the website that I just showed you, and you can place them in many places. These are files. I'm gonna show you this particular file. That's Drupal. Yeah. Okay, you can place these files either in your homepage, your homepath.drush. Either you can put it within a Drupal installation, or you can even explicitly with a command say, okay, load a site alias that is located in this directory. So here I have two, well, actually three, but the third one is just an example of my site aliases. The first one, as you can see, they're just arrays. The first one is just defining settings for my local site. Okay, it's just saying that, okay, that's my alias called local. It's located there. The URI it's Drupal.localhost. This setting solves the issue we had before with having to set -- URI my hostname because it's going to be taken from here. And then the path aliases are a set of paths that I can use, for example, to tell Drush, look, if you download any database from another site, place temporary database backups in this folder. And well, there are some other things we'll use later on. And then the live property, it's for shell aliases, which is something else I'm gonna explain in the next slide. While the development alias, which is a remote one, has further more information because I need to specify first its URI, which is common with the local one as well. It's a known option. But then there are these two which are remote user and remote host. I'm connecting to this site through SSH as root at drupal.juampy.com. So by giving this to Drush and ensuring that I can log into that site without providing a password, Drush will take care of the rest. I got more path aliases here defined, which such as Drush is located here, and my temporary directory is this one. And then these other options are for some commands I'm gonna use. For example, I'm gonna play with SQL sync, which is a command that connects to your server, your local site with a remote system, extracts a database dump, downloads it to your box, and if you give this other option called sanitize, it will reset passwords to literally passwords of all the users in that site, and also change email addresses. This sanitize function is actually a command called SQL sanitize that can be extended. So, for example, if you have commerce site and, for example, you're storing credit card details, you can extend this command so it will reset or delete those tables as well. You can also ignore cache tables, such as this list that I have here, because you don't want those to get downloaded when the database dump is created. And that's it. Finally, I'm defining another site alias, which is just a test one I have in that server as well, which is a production one. And I have this setting because site aliases, they have also inheritance. I mean, this particular site alias is located in the same server as the previous one, the dev one. So by saying that the parent of this site alias is Drupal.dev, which means this one, this site alias is inheriting all the options that I've set in the other one. So I don't have to, copy them from one site alias to another. Which means then to connect to this site, this is going to use the same credentials as the previous site alias and all that. So once this has been explained, can you hold a second? So once this has been explained, I'm going to show a couple of commands. For example, this is a remote site, as I said before, and I'm going to set it to maintenance mode. So I would run Drush Drupal.dev and then variable set or vset. I think it was maintenance mode. So let's see. The variable name is maintenance. Mode, and then set it to 1. This is connecting to the remote server and setting, well, it's actually asking me for my public keys passphrase to connect to it. And that's it. It said that it has set that variable to maintenance mode. If I've done this correctly, Yeah, but look, I have this setting now that the site is in maintenance mode. So if I want to unset this, I would just set this back to 0. And that's it. Site, it's basically, you can launch any command to a remote site, and it's just much faster of having to log into the remote site and specifically and run it. So now the next thing I'm going to do is bringing the database from the development side to my local site, and that's done with the SQL command. So I'm going to run Drush SQL sync. Oh. Can you hold this? And then I provide the origin and target. In this case, the origin it's DrupalDev, and the target of this command it's my local site. I want the remote to my local. If I put it the other way around, it's dangerous, because if you do this, for example, with a production site and you write this the other way around, you will overwrite the production website with your local website, the database, I mean. So, but anyway, there are some policy rules that you can set to Drush to avoid this. I'll show that in a minute. So that would be Drupal.local. Okay. So this is it's now loading the configuration of both of these site aliases. And okay, so it's telling me, look, I'm gonna create a database dump, but I'm gonna ignore all of these tables, which are the ones I gave before in the site alias. Okay, it's gonna get only the structure, but not the data of all these cache tables. Also, there is a confirmation saying, look, you're gonna destroy your local data. This is just so you can be sure that you're doing the right thing. And then, because I added the sanitize option, this is telling me that once the database has been installed locally, it's going to run the sanitize process, which is what I told you about passwords and emails. And well, a suggestion to make a backup, but I don't want to. So right now it's doing the whole process, which is logging to development, generating a database dump, downloading it to my local box, removing my local tables, installing the database, and sanitizing. That's why it's taking a few seconds. Any questions so far? Yeah?
Do table expressions allow wildcards?
No, not for the moment. He asked if you can use wildcards here. That's actually a limitation right now, because if this at the end, translates to a MySQL command, which is MySQL dump. I think it was ignore or structure tables and this list. If you add a table that doesn't exist in this database to that command, the whole process crashes. I actually want to improve this, because you could maybe filter your array against, you could do maybe a show tables at before and match them. So if you are adding extra tables, remove it. But well, nobody has ever worked in that yet. So anyway. This process has been done, and that means that I don't have sample listing anymore, because I have overridden my local database. Actually no, because this is a different site. This is one I just created. This site, local, it's actually Drupal.localhost. But anyway, I think this site is also empty. So this is an empty site. This was the target of the SQL process, and because this one is empty, obviously this one is an empty site as well. Okay, so next thing we're gonna go ahead. By the way, at this URL there is an example of a full site alias implementation, which contains a local, development, and production environment. Next thing, custom commands and scripts. You would write a custom command, whenever you want to automate something or extend the abilities of one of your modules. Actually, most of the popular contributed modules, they have a Drush extension or a set of Drush commands to perform most of its important tasks. I've written a very simple example here that is called user blocker, because there is a command in Drush to block a single user, but if you want to block, for example, several users with just one command, there's not such feature, so just as an example, I wrote that. There's also an API of, with hooks that you can hook into to alter existing commands. It's like when I told you before that you can, for example, extend SQL sanitize to sanitize your own tables. For example, there's another example that you can download a module and add an option to it called enable. So you can enable that module automatically once it has been downloaded, all in one command. And then PHP-val and PHP-script are just PHP-val. I don't know if you have used devel module. It's just to run a single or 1, 2, or 3 PHP statements. If you need something longer than that, it's better to write it in a file and use PHP-script. The good thing of using these two commands is that Drupal is bootstrapped before that. So, for example, whenever you are writing some code it doesn't have many dependencies. Instead of writing it maybe in a module, you can just move it here, play with it there because it's just faster to load, and then move it to your original or to its original place. And then, for the script example, I wrote a script that just bootstraps Drupal, connects to the Twitter API, and loads tweets from there. I've only got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna finish with these topics and then do as many examples as I can. Drush 5 comes with an optimized shell that you can extend to do even shorter site aliases. For example, instead of doing Drush CCO for clearing caches, you can just type CCA and that's it. Instead of, for example, downloading a module with Drush PM download or Drush DL, you can just do DL and module name as well, and several others. If you check Drush topic docs bash rc, there's a full example there that you can just it has instructions of how can you just add it to your bash, and automatically you have all these settings. There's another one here for site aliases. For example, if I do cdd Drupal local, because that site alias contains the root path of my Drupal site, it will change the directory to there. So I don't have to type the whole path to go to the root. And then also command and site alias autocompletion. I haven't shown that, but for example, the autocompletion works also for commands and site aliases. So for example, if I type here Drupal user and I hit tab twice, I think. Twice?
Drush, not Drupal.
Oh, it's true. No, not yet. Drush. Okay, from here. User. Okay, here are the user commands. So this also applies for site aliases. How much time do you have? Okay. Thanks. Okay, that's good. So I can go to some examples of this. Okay, finally, configuration files are they contain two things. These are files called DrushRC, where you can place this file, for example, within a Drupal site and set a few options that you normally add to commands. For example, if you're bored of having to hit yes on every prompt, you can within a Drupal site. You can write a DrushRC PHP file where you say options y equals true, and you won't need to type any more yes on any command prompt. This applies also for other commands which are more complex. These files can be applied for a site for a user, for an installation, or for all sites within an installation, depending on where you place them. Drush topic docs configuration has a full example of this. And there's also within DrushRC files Git aliases, or actually shell aliases, which are like the Git aliases. If you use Drush and somebody, by mistake you have done Drush pull instead of Git pull, you can actually do that. It's just an alias that it will actually call Git pull, not Drush pull. And then command-specific options are like the ones I configured for the site areas. For example, these are options like if I run SQL sync, I want always to sanitize. And if you set that in your home page, in your home tab, it will apply to all your Drupal sites. There are so many things here. And finally, this Drush make. Drush make before Drush 5, it was in a contributed module, and now it's a part of core, and it's a perfect tool for building Drupal distributions. So I've got it here open already. If I open the make file of Drupal commerce, it's a plain text file that contains. It's redirecting me, and I don't know why it's taking so long. I'm just gonna copy this. This is a plain text file that contains references to a lot of projects. So in case you, for example, you build a Drupal project and you need to make something that is another project that is more or less the same, with Drush make, you can create a skeleton of this site, which is a Drupal installation with all the modules you used in your previous project. And if you add an installation profile to it to maybe configure it, you can go even further. So all these distributions, if I go, for example, here, they contain a long list of modules that you want to download, patches that you want to apply over these modules. You can download modules from either Drupal.org, or you can also download libraries from GitHub. Anyway, it's very open, and if you want, for example, to create a skeleton of Drush make file, you can just write Drush make generate, and the destination, let's say workshop.make. Okay, so this is gathering all the information that I have on my site and generating a Drush make file, sample one. I mean, you will have to work a little bit further for this to work as you would really like. And it will just download the modules. It won't do anything else. If you want to either install them or do extra configuration during the installation of the Drupal site, you will have to write an installation profile. Okay, so this is done. And if I open workshop.make, here's my file. It's basically listing all the modules I have. And if I take this file and I say Drush make this file, it will download Drupal core. Well, I don't know if it's listed at the top. Yeah, it will download Drupal 7 and all this list of modules, and just leave it like that. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have more time to show you more examples. So if anybody wants to see examples of Drush RC or Bash auto-completion or Drush shell aliases, just tell me at the end. So just to finish, same as for policy file. Installing, if anybody wants to install Drush, I'll help anybody who wants to do it. I'm gonna just skip this one, which is where you could normally place Drush configuration files to either make them work over a site or a full Drupal installation. Some resources, these slides are available in the session description, so you can take them from there. And that's it. Thank you very much.